This is Dr. Paul Van Valen posting on Easter Sunday. This is the 25th day of shelter at home for my family and I. And I want to talk about stage 5 of the grief process called acceptance. They don't go in order. And if you are in a situation, as we are now, where there are daily remembrances and reminders of what we are going through, the stress is not resolved, we are still very actively engaged in a process, then these various cycles repeat themselves more often than a situation where you have the death of a loved one, and over the course of a year following their death, life begins to resume normalcy. We're not in a normal place, and we won't be for a while. So don't be surprised if the shock and denial, the sorrow, the anger, the bargaining, and the acceptance all kind of weave together. I've been experiencing less shock and denial. The first week of staying at home, I would be going through the television listings and say to myself, oh, there's a basketball game. And my son would say, Dad, there's no live sports. Oh, there's a football game. No, that can't be right. That was last season's football game. I'm not a huge sports fan, but I do enjoy checking in. But after the first week, I stream by those those listings, and I am not moved at all. I don't respond. I've moved through the shock and denial in that little thing, which doesn't change my life much. That's just a little example. The sorrow, I think, is lightening up for me. The first week, I was tired all the time. I slept an hour a day in spite of a good night's sleep. And I have finding myself with less fatigue here as we move into the fourth week. Anger has not been a huge experience for me. I get a little frustrated when I see people being unwise or selfish or intolerant. And so that's a stirring that comes up every now and then, but that's sort of every day for me. That isn't necessarily related to just what's going on now. And so acceptance is the ability to look forward with some hope, to look forward with some gratitude, to look forward with an image of what life is like under our present circumstances. Acceptance is not just being happy about what's happened. In fact, most of our losses don't create happiness. So we look at James 1, count it all joy, consider it all joy when trials and tribulations come your way. So this is in part a decision to make. It's in part a process that we go through, not necessarily happily or gladly at all times. Consider it joy is an act of the will. And so is acceptance at times. If you find yourself just obsessing about, either anger or sorrow or fear, we begin to accept life as it is. And I think I'm seeing this with lots of people. I talk to people who are homeschooling. We're doing a little better now. It isn't quite as scary, but it's still hard. And that's part of acceptance. It can still be hard, but we're still accepting it. I talk to people who are unemployed. That's a little more scary. I don't know when I'm going back to work. I'm trying to focus on those things for which I'm grateful. I'm trying to take opportunity to do things that are meaningful and valuable since I'm not working. That is acceptance. And today I've really been enjoying looking at Facebook posts. And Facebook is mostly old people like me. Younger people are using Instagram and other things, and I intend to get into that when I find the time, but I've actually been quite busy. But people are posting about the joy that they're having with online virtual communication, the chance to take the time to reflect on old memories. I'm singing hymns in my head that I haven't sung in years as people are bringing these things to mind. This is all evidence of acceptance. The ability to celebrate now in the context that we're in, regardless of what's going on around us. In Philippians 4, Paul said, I've learned to be content in all things. That is a state of acceptance. So don't chastise yourself if you can't remain in acceptance. There are new things all the time being posted. I just read today in the paper that you don't have to take an IRA contribution this year if you don't need to, and you're someone my age or older. So just little things like that, you realize, oh, I'm making changes every day with the new information that's coming my way, some of them positive, some of them negative. So give yourself the freedom and those around you lots of grace to feel and experience and express shock and denial, sorrow, anger, bargaining, and let's encourage one another to accept the limits of our influence, to accept that God is redeeming all things in this time, to live with the hope that goes beyond circumstantial situations. Blessings on this Easter day.